Hello friends, welcome back in the channel of Clinical Care Insight. So before the break, we discussed about the overview, overview of bacterial, you can say all the pathogenicity, including both the virus and bacteria, and then we seen some of the bacterial pathogenetic process. You remembered it. We discussed about the how first is the entry of the you can say bacteria in the host, and second thing is adherence, and we seen in the adherence cases, we seen there are three types of adherence. Some uses their locomotory organs, and some secrete some of the adhesine, you can say molecules, and they attached, so these are the some, you can say, form of adherence. So in the bacterial pathogenesis, in the bacterial pathogenesis, we till now we already discussed about the first step, that is a entry into host body. Bacterial entry into the host body. Second process we discussed is, very good, it's the adherence. And now after the break we are discussing about the invasion, the third step. Invasion of bacteria, invasion of the, you can say, invasion by the bacteria to the host tissue. So what does it mean by the invasion? Invasion means to penetrating, to penetrating inside the mucosal lining, to penetrate inside to the mucosal lining. So if we define it, not all bacteria are invasive bacteria. Remember, keep in your mind, not all bacteria are invasive bacteria. Those bacteria, or we can say those pathogens which can invade the tissue of host, we refer those pathogens as an invasive pathogen. We referred those pathogens which penetrate the mucosal lining of the host, we referred those pathogens as a invasive pathogen. Clear? No problem? And where it's invade, the invasion is mainly with the, you can say, the mucosal lining. They penetrate the mucosal lining. Now the question is how they are invading. How they are invading. So the answer is very simple. Probably you know it, that like us, we secrete some of the enzyme in order to digest the macromolecules. Fine. So these bacteria, they also contain some of the enzymes, which is responsible for you can say lysis, or helping the bacteria to invade, to penetrate in tissue environment, and cause a disease. Fine. So there are two notable enzymes. Called as cholineases, and hyaluronidase. These are two notable enzymes, which is very good, secreted by the bacteria in order to penetrate into the mucosal lining of host, in order to penetrate in the mucosal lining of the host. This cholinease and hyaluronidase both are kind of degradative enzyme. And it degrades mainly the extracellular, you can say, component. Write it down. These enzyme, the exogenase into the collagenase and hyaluronidase, the collagenase and hyaluronidase both are involved in the degradation of the extracellular matrix. Both are involved in the degradation of extracellular matrix. extracellular matrix. Clear? No problem? Yeah. And by this it's helped the bacteria, okay, it's helped the bacteria to invade the tissue easily. Okay, these enzymes, it's helped the bacteria to invade, or we can say the penetrate into the, yeah, penetrate into the tissue environment. Now this invasion follows the inflammation. Okay, after the invasion there is a inflammation of the tissue, because you know this bacteria is a kind of foreign agent. Now it's come to the mucosal lining, and you know the mucosal lining is very, you can say, decorated by the presence of immune cells. So there is an immune reaction, okay, and referred as a inflammation. So after the invasion, okay, after the invasion, tissues undergo the inflammatory process referred as inflammation. We will have a discussion, you can say the detailed discussion over the inflammation in one separate lecture, but for a while you just understand inflammation is a body response. Remember, it's a protective body response. Okay, how? I will tell you. It's a protective body response, or you can say the mechanism of our body. Fine, this is a protective mechanism of our body. Whenever our body cells or tissue come in contact with some undesirable, or you can say the foreign agent, foreign particles, body shows this inflammation. Okay, body produce the inflammation, and there are common signs and symptoms of the inflammation. You probably know it from your lower class. That is a fever. Okay, there's a redness. Okay, there may be presence of swelling, or it may be not. So the swelling, okay, there is bit, you can say the heat. These all are called as the inflammatory response, and this inflammatory response is necessary to fight with the external agent, Got the points? No problem? Now, about the inflammation, some of the bacteria, they produce the pus. Okay, in the inflammation there is mainly, you can say, the WBCs. Okay, mainly the WBCs, neutrophils, that all are involved. They all are the involved. Okay, also remember, one of the signs, don't forget, is a pain. Okay, so in the case of inflammation, some of the bacteria, they produce the pus. Okay, and pus is mainly the dead cells, mainly the dead WBCs. Okay, and some of bacteria, they produce, you can say, one globular structure, and that is referred as the granulomatous, you can say, granulomatous inflammation. So there are two kinds of inflammation. If we talked about the bacteria, in context of the bacteria, okay, come here. If we talked about the bacteria, then inflammation is, you can say, the two types. The first, some bacteria are referred as a pyogenic bacteria, pus forming bacteria. So the one kind of inflammation is, you can say, pyogenic, okay, and the another is granulatous, okay, inflammation. These are the two types of inflammation generally caused by the bacteria. Okay, generally caused by the bacteria. Now, the pyogenic bacteria mainly involved, as I said, is a pus, you can say, the pus formation, and mainly in the pus there is a neutrophil. Okay, some common example of pyogenic bacteria are Staphylococcus aureus, Streptococcus, Pyogen, and E. coli. Write the name of pyogenic bacteria, the clinically important pyogenic bacteria. First in Streptococcus aureus. Okay, Staphylococcus Pyogen, okay, and one is some strain of the E. coli. E. coli. So these are some of the pyogenic bacteria. Once again, mainly the bacteria produce the two kind of inflammation. Some produces the pyogenic, okay, the pus forming inflammation, and some is a granulatous kind, okay. So in the pyogenic type, these are the some of the clinically important bacteria which you keep in your mind. First one is Streptococcus aureus, Staphylococcus pyogenes, and E. coli. If we talked about the granulatous, then you know then which disease this granulatous kind of inflammation is happening. Yeah, leprosy, tuberculosis, isn't it? So the Mycobacterium tuberculi, Mycobacterium leprae. Mycobacterium leprae causes the leprosy, a kind of you can say skin disease, Kushth road. So one is Mycobacterium tuberculi, and another one is the Mycobacterium leprae. Fine. This Mycobacterium tuberculosis, it causes the TB, and this Mycobacterium leprae, it causes the leprosy. No problem? Understood? Yeah. Once again, we are discussing the bacterial pathogenesis, okay, and these are some of the mode, these are the some of the modes to cause a disease. The first we discuss is the entry into the host body, okay, and we've seen there are different portal of entry, okay, starting from the mouth, urinogenital tract, GIT, through the, you can cut it, skin, and then we've seen the adherence, that in order to multiply, bacteria have to make them stable, so it have to adhere on the cell surface, and for this adherence sometimes bacteria use their locomotory organ, okay, and sometimes they secrete some of the proteins called as the adhesin molecules, and by which they, you can say, make the contact with the host surface. Then the one of the characteristics of a successful you can say the bacteria is to invasiveness to the host tissue, and those pathogens which those bacteria which you can say invade the tissue or penetrate into the mucosal lining, we refer those bacteria as a invasive pathogen. Very good. Now in this the invasion follows the inflammation, and we've seen that inflammation is a protective mechanism, and some of the, you can say, the inflammatory sign is fever, redness, swelling, heat, and pain, okay, and why it is called as the protective mechanism? Because it's provide the protection. Okay, if there will be no fever, if there will be no redness, suppose my finger is cutted, okay, and you see that immediately after the clotting there is a redness in that area, okay, if you touch that, then they are the, you can say, warm, heat, then there will be a pain. If there will be no pain, we will not give the attention. Yeah, you can say the ignorance is a tendency, it's become a tendency, it's not an inherited tendency, but sometimes we acquire to ignore the things. Okay, unless until if there will be no any, you can say, a kind of provoking message, we generally ignore the things. Okay, so these are the alertness, alertness to give attention to the infected part. We seen in the case of the invasion there are enzymes. Okay, how these invasions happen? By the help of the enzymes. There are the two notable enzymes. The first one is called as the cholinease, another one is called as the hyaluronidase. This cholinease and hyaluronidase, these are secreted by the bacteria, and they are mainly involved in the degradation of extracellular matrix. Now the inflammation can be two types, okay, on the basis of, you can say, the pus formation, they are called pyogenic bacteria and non-pyogenic bacteria. So some of the pyogenic bacteria are Streptococcus aureus, Staphylococcus pyogenes, and E. coli. Okay, and if we talk about the another type, the granulotous formation, there are two types. You already seen the Mycobacterium tuberculi, which causes the TB, and another one is which causes the leprosy, the Mycobacterium leprae. Till here, you have any doubt? No? Now, after discussing the entry into the host body, adherence, and invasion, these are the some of the mode. Okay, don't, you can say, confuse that. Okay, each step follows another step. It's not necessary. It's not necessary, okay? But these are the pattern by which bacteria can cause a disease. Bacteria can cause a disease, okay? And apart from it, sometimes what happen, bacteria produces some of the, you can say, toxic material, some of the toxic materials which directly you can say cause sign and symptoms or directly cause a disease, okay, fine. And those agents and those toxic agents we refer as a toxins, okay. So now we are going to discuss about the bacterial toxin.